Amazon Studios' first proper game and MMORPG New World is launching at the end of this month, but before it does, the studio held a closed beta session for those who have pre-ordered the game, and I took this opportunity to check out said game, so here are a few of my hopefully coherent and helpful thoughts. Amazon Game Studios and Double Helix Games' New World is an MMORPG set in the fantasy world of Aeternum, an island world in the Atlantic Ocean made up of untold legends. Shipwrecked as you journey to said island, your character will need to make their way into the dangerous world where the laws of life and death have no meaning and magic rules the land, allowing its citizens to perform many different miracles, but also cause horror and untold destruction. From the outset, the game looks very similar to MMORPGs of the past, ones like Guild Wars or World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy Online, with the screen covered with XP bars, floating panels containing characters' abilities, quest logs, and much more. All the usual things an MMO has, and because of this, it's quite easy to get a grasp on the New World's gameplay loop, and basically, if you've ever played an MMO, you should feel comfortable with this one. Character creation is one of the first things you'll see in the game, and you get a pretty decent smattering of choice when it comes to creating your character. All the usual settings are there for hair, facial hair, eyes, ears, nose, presets, tattoos, all the good stuff. As of the closed beta, I don't believe there is an option to change your appearance, however, after you've locked it in this initial scene, so definitely make sure you're happy with what you have going forward. Combat soon rears its violent head and an interesting QTE opening battle which goes over the buttons and targeting for the game. Something I found that sets this MMO apart from the others is where other online games have standard attacks or abilities mapped to keys like 1 through 5, New World has a freehand weapon system in that you can unsheath your weapon with a single button and then start swinging your sword with your left mouse button while blocking with a shield with the right mouse button. Your abilities are linked to the Q, R, and F buttons, which allow you to continue moving while also activating said skills, something I thought was quite a fantastic idea and keeps the flow of battle moving so it's not really just stagnant. Combat in general is pretty standard for an MMO. Hit the enemy until they die, hit them with abilities and whatnot, heal up, all that sort of stuff. Nothing overly complicated, and that's totally fine. The addition of being able to block was a great and very useful skill as well, and I quite enjoyed the freehand combat system. In any MMO, skills are an important part of the game. They allow you to customize your character to suit any situation, and in New World it's no different, with your basic core attributes like strength, dexterity, and intelligence and so on. Each skill covers certain weapons and their skills, with damage dealt by said weapons affected by how high that skill is. Weapons also have their own skill trees, and not only that, but no weapon is locked to the player no matter the level. If you start the game and you want to use a musket and a two-handed battle axe, you can. You want to use only ranged weapons or magic only, you can. There is no minimum requirements involved, and nothing is off limits as it should be in an MMO. Because of this, you have a wider variety of weapon combos which allow you to cover pretty much all your bases. Like my general loadout was your standard sword and shield combo for close range and a musket for long range. Respecking is also allowed, and for a small fee you can completely change up your playstyle and where your points are allocated. Non-combat skills also exist in the form of trade skills, which are things like crafting and refining, which are further broken down into things like mining, logging, skinning, and fishing. And doing these skills out in the field get you XP and progresses the skills, allowing you to craft better resources. The map of New World is quite expansive, and during my playtime I didn't really get a chance to explore all of it, but from what I saw it looks great and has a diverse number of biomes. If you were to look at the map, you'll notice it's kind of broken up into states or nations, and one of the main mechanics of the game is invasions. These happen when the twisted armies of the island assault player-controlled territory, with groups of up to 50 max-level players rallying together to fight off the attack. Group combat is an important cornerstone of the game, and invasions are only the beginning, with things such as Outpost Rush, a PvPvE game mode with 20 players battling each other to control fortifications, and lastly the all-out war mode, which is exactly as it sounds, with giant groups of players battling one another for controls of towns, territories, and forts. One interesting aspect of these territories is the perks you can unlock for each area. Completing missions in certain territories earns you points in those territories, which you can then choose to spend on a number of different things, like earning a little bit more XP in said territory, or crafting is cheaper in that territory. In these territories and towns, there are also lots of things to do, like actually building the town and upgrading it, and you and every other player can participate in this, upgrading things like trading posts and storage lockers among other things. This is done through small quests accepted from the town leader, usually things like collect 10 wolf pelts and things like that. Being that this was a beta, the whole point of it was to iron out bugs and problems with the game so it has a smooth launch. So I imagine lots of things will be improved before its late August, early September release. Personally, I never really experienced any huge game-breaking bugs, with only the few animation glitches and things like textures not really coming in at the right resolution every now and then. The game is rather taxing on systems though, and while I was running at 60 FPS most of the time, I did see dips as low as 40 in places. But again, it's more optimization for them to do over the course of the next couple of weeks. A big problem though is for people with 3090 series GPUs, since it essentially bricks the card for some reason. Being I don't have that card, I didn't encounter that problem, but that is definitely something a lot of people seem to be dealing with, and it's unfortunate, and hopefully it's something they can rectify in the future. In terms of actual gameplay loops and what I experienced in the game, I can't say there isn't really much that needs to be improved. Things could probably be streamlined a little bit, like I felt like there was a bit too many menus and menus within menus that sometimes it could be a bit confusing, and again, it's stuff that can be rectified in future updates, and if they actually listen to fans and players of the game, probably will be. For Amazon Studios' first MMORPG, and first actual real game for that matter, New World feels refreshing and a lot of fun, filled with some interesting lore, a fun combat and gameplay loop, and lots of little interesting concepts that make it a little different from World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy Online. Obviously, one of the big selling points for the game is you only have to buy it once and that's it. There is no subscription fee or anything like that available. So if you have time to put into an MMO, I definitely think it should be this one you choose to play.